and welcome, family, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Seraki. Today is a prophetic message for Africa following the death of Elizabeth, the Queen of England, what that means for us as a people and what we should be aware of moving forward. I've done a series, family. I think it's a total of like 5 shows. So definitely go and check each and every one out. I couldn't have made them one, it would have been like 2 hours long. But this is a major shift. We've been talking about how Babylon has fallen, how Babylon is tumbling. And this is one of the major signs of what is actually happening. Absolutely huge, family. And, before I get into that, special shout out to our Patreon family. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show and enabling us to continue to bring the Wake Up Africa news to our people. Please consider supporting us, family, so that we can continue to do this full-time job of actually researching and sharing the messages that are important to our people. There's a revolution that's happening right now, and sadly, our voice is not as wide as it should be, like the real voice of what is going on in the heavenlies, because there's an epic spiritual war that's been won. And the fall of Elizabeth, the fact that they had to remove her from the narrative, because as I always say, family, it's always about narratives. And the fact that they had to close out that narrative shows you that a certain age has come to an end. A certain era has ended, family. A 70-year reign is over. And we're entering a new dispensation for real, for real. And the prophetic message for us today is that, a major battle has been won. Like, we have opened up the gates that were locked. We've broken those chains. A curse has been lifted. And because that curse has been lifted, we are now entering the season of true independence for the African continent. Because you see, all our independence movements were hijacked, family, and not just on the British side, but even the French, etc., etc. Where, remember what our great seers used to say: the Queen left through the front door, went around and came right back through the side door. We were never free. Our independence, revolutionaries, many were, assassinated, um, taken out, disenfranchised, written out of history. I mean, for a time, I don't even know, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not sure, but I don't even think the true story of our people is taught in our curriculums. It's taught in our schools about all these great nations, from the Nandi to the Agekoyo to the Kamba to the Samburu to the Maasai, who fought for decades against the British invasion. That is the story that's not told. And so, we were told by our great seers in the past that a veil, a spell of sleep was thrown over our people. And then they came. This was so systematic. And it wasn't just about the Queen, it was the system. But she is the face of the system in this narrative. And that's why there's so much prominence being given to her death, because it's not just an end of her, it's an end of white supremacy as we know it. Charles will always be blocked by the curse of Diana. And so this is the real independence, family. And a lot of the major players in the first independence struggle are coming to the forefront now. They're reincarnated. There are people who are carrying that name, which means you carry the spirit of that person and hence that person with you. Like here in Kenya, we just literally elected a man who carries the name Samoei, who was an ancient warrior, prophet, king, who the freaking British killed 117 years ago. And they still have his head till today. We've been trying to get it back. These are containment spells. They're not keeping it in the museum so they can see the heads of their enemies, family. There are serious spells that were done over the African nation, but now that spell is lifted. Because when that spell was upon us, there was nothing we could do. And that spell took us so low. It took us so low where we experienced the absolute worst. And many of our, our family, our unknown women, children, and men are being trafficked and all these things today. They're still suffering today, but the spell is broken. Because before we were in their dispensation, in their book of life, family. But now it shows you that we're returning. Like the spiritual rescue for the African people is here, and now we're returning back. Like the vibration is so high that the shackles and chains are falling off. But family, this is the season when we have to be the most alert because we are so entangled with Babylon in terms of from our political systems to our laws. They've even written many of our constitutions. They have spies and armies and all this stuff in our nations. So the real liberation is not going to be for the faint-hearted. If you feel that you are called right now, like you are here for a reason, you need to become a study of your nation's independent struggle and how, we were kind of like the struggle was stolen from us last minute so that we don't make the same mistakes as the ancestors. So that this time the true independence is not taken. I mean, because we're in a new vibration, family, so it can't be taken from us. It's already over. It's already been worn in the spiritual. But since they still control man, the mind, the group, the group country, you can see it's falling apart though. Let me just take that back. You can see it's falling apart. But since they still have so much dominance on the group consciousness and on the runnings of this world, their web is deep and runs far and wide. As we disentangle ourselves from this, we have to be fully aware. And the reason I'm saying study the past is because we're not only going to be fighting the colonial systems, but the colonial mentality in our own people. And most of the people who carry the colonial mentality today, the ones who want to be lords and they want to be lorded over and they want to be super rich and have all these super poor people in their nation and all these things and who are corrupt and stealing our money and thinking, narcissistic madmen and women, they are going to be a major stumbling block. Some of them are in your family, some of them are in your community, some of them are running your country or are running the Masonic lodges in your country and have their fingers everywhere. So the independence, no independence is easy. Freedom is not handed over. Well, who said that? Was it Martin Luther King Jr. or someone who said freedom is not handed over from one generation to another? Rather, every generation must fight for their freedom in the context they are in their time, in their generation. Their generation discern. So this is it's like the culmination of a very, 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 very long battle for the restoration of Mama Earth. Like this is the culmination of it. And these people are dark. Study what the French did when they left their former colonies. Because you see, the Queen, it's all they're all connected family. I mean, if you even check physically, like all the royal families, their bloodlines are connected. So it's like the system that it's been an illegal system here on earth. It's going to start to fall away. But be aware of the games they play, family, because nothing has changed in their book. They believe in a scorched earth policy. Study that. Study what the French did, as in when the French left the West African colonies, they scorched the earth, as in brought down the electric lines, brought down the telephone poles. Then people were using, what are those called? The phone box or whatever. Brought all of them down, mashed up the road, like scorched earth, left it in total devastation. Like, you want us to leave? Okay, we're gonna mash up everything we've built for you on our way out. Like, this is a narcissistic person who has been gaslighting our people, and some of our people are still in bondage, even though we are in the season of liberation. And so the struggle ultimately may not be so much as Babylon, because Babylon is already defeated, but it will be for the group consciousness, which I've been talking about for so many years, family, the group consciousness of our people. is what is we really need to get fully in our control, because they're the sympathizers, and there'll be no mercy for these ones this time round. They're the empathizers, the ones who even try and say, oh, slavery ended, we have no issue with it, oh, there's no issue with colonialism, because they're ignorant, they haven't even read their history. Independence is never easy, family. And if you know about the scorched earth, you should be stocking up on food, stocking up on water, building up your spirit man to a point of, where you're scarily psychic. Welcome the spirit of the ancestors. There's so much excitement in the air, family. There's so much vibes. It's so funny. Whoa, this is a big turning point for our people, and our ancestors don't want us to miss it. We're gonna have to be strong. We're gonna have to stand on truth, even if we're the only one in the room that is seeking the truth. And we're gonna have to lead our brothers with love to the truth. Because now that this is broken, there are other, this is like the governmental structure is broken, and a lot of those pillars are broken. But there's still one that we will have to contend with, which is where they started and which is where we're ending, which is the spiritual one. Because a lot of people are still in the Jesus complex. A lot of people don't even know there were 16 saviors before the Jesus, the Messiah, came through. They don't know that there are so many similar stories in different traditions that the Jesus story, Cesar Borgia, was taken from. These are the stories of our people, our teachers, our healers. That's why I say Jesus Christ never existed, family, because that was not the way he came. He didn't come in the narrative they're giving us. And my reason for saying that is because you need to dig deeper and find the truth for yourself. Because messiahs have come and continue to come. And you'd better recognize the next messiah, because the ground is being prepared for him. Elizabeth had to check out because the Queen of the South is here. Within a decade, Africa is going to be under a whole new spiritual dispensation. And remember how it was when you learned Christianity was a lie, family. That is literally the awakening that Africa is about to go under right now. Where the majority of the group consciousness is going to recognize just the layers of lies. Like, family, yesterday there were people who were even Africans, Kenyans, who were even changing their profile pics to RIP the Queen, until they got schooled by the younger generation. And today a lot of people have changed their pictures back. That's how this happens. Like, the truth cannot be stopped. But there is going to be that intergenerational war. There's those who have romanticized the Queen, romanticized religion, and they believe with all their hearts, body, minds, and souls, and whatever, in the Jesus story. And then there are those who have gone beyond that, who are now truly spiritual beings having this human experience. And that's where now the rubber's going to hit the road. But we send nothing but love to our global family. You are so loved by the ancient ones, the ancestors, and the Most High. They are working a great thing in all our lives, both individually and collectively. It is a new day, but we also have to see it. Don't bring our movement down by saying, oh, the elite are still in power, they're going to do this or they're going to do that. See with this eye, the first eye, what is really going on. Stop always bringing us back to that narrative, bringing us back to that timeline. Because in this timeline I'm in, we win. And we win and we enter the golden age and we reign forever. Tuko pamoja. looking for a conscious community, or for people, who are on their awakening journey, on their transition to an off-grid living in your country, well, we have the solution, family. We're calling it Unity Communities. We get so many emails every week from people who ask if I know of people in their region, or people in their city, or people in their town who are on a similar kind of journey, who have broken away or are breaking away from the religious psychosis, and they're looking for just people who think the same way in their town, in their city. But more importantly, to give us a community where we feel understood, understood, overstood, where we can bond with people of like mind. And if you feel called to be part of this, definitely email me at drmumbi at drmumbishow.com. Please put your country in the subject line with Unity Communities. Get in touch with me, drmumbi at drmumbishow.com. Unity Communities.